The question is being asked about chaya. So the chaya means shadow. So the consciousness of living beings is also in their shadow is also alive, according to the Vedic conception, which is very deep and broad, beyond the perception of most ignorant, foolish people, Occidentals, Caucasians, as you would say. Occidentals, Westerners, Western philosophers, they can hardly understand the consciousness of the living being, what to speak of the consciousness of clouds. Clouds have consciousness. And there's consciousness in the water, and consciousness in the rocks, and consciousness in the stars. Everywhere there's consciousness. Everywhere there's Krishna. So this very deep and profound idea is there. It's a reality that the living being, the person, is in the shadow, the chaya. So the Shastras say it's naparad to step on a jiva's chaya. Not only a cow, a jiva, a human being. And jiva means a living entity, not necessarily a human being. You shouldn't step on the shadow of any being. Specifically, that is very offensive and shows an ignorance of wisdom, a lack of wisdom about the reality, this cosmic reality that we live in, which is very personal and it's everywhere. One great acharya said the entire material creation is just floating. It's just floating on us. He said this entire material planet, this entire material universe, is just like one ball floating on an ocean of consciousness. You know, you go in the ocean, someone throws a plastic beach ball or something overboard, and it's floating along. Very small and vast ocean, Atlantic Ocean. So this whole Maya Jagat, this whole universe is like a small ball, a child's plastic ball, floating on a sea of consciousness. So consciousness is the background of everyone and everything. Consciousness is moving and maintaining everything. So ultimately, when we go deep into the matter, we see that consciousness can be looked at as impersonal, Brahman, or it can be seen as personal consciousness, living personal consciousness with feelings and transcendental emotions, and that becomes the Vaishnava conception. So in general, one should be very respectful and kind to every living entity, whether they be in an ant body or the body of a tree or squirrel or dog or pig or any living entity. Every living entity has an equal right to breathe and live and move on this planet Earth. Mother Bhumi or Dharani, Bhumi Mata, is supporting everyone, and Bhagavan is the father of every living entity. 14:27 Gita. Ham bija prada pita. Ham bija prada pita. Pita means father gives a seed. The seed is the jivatma. The seed means the chit bij, the seed of consciousness. The seed of consciousness is inside the rocks. So we don't just pick up rocks and throw them anywhere. That's not good. The rocks they're sitting on the ground, they want to be there. That's their place. They're very covered consciousness. Consciousness is there, but it's not expressing any movement. Clouds have consciousness, but they're moving. In fact, in a Bhagavatam, and it says in Venugit, the gopis are saying, "Oh, Krishna, the clouds are your friends. The clouds have become your friends. It must be because you're both the same color. You share the color of the clouds. And like a friend, they are shielding you from the rays of the sun, like an umbrella over your head." And then seeing that even though your head is being shaded and protected and shielded from the intense, scorching, direct rays of the sun, it's still a very hot day and you're perspiring. So being your friend, we want to relieve your fatigue and refresh you and make you feel happy and comfortable. So we'll sprinkle small misty type water from our clouds and you'll feel nice mist on your face, like these machines that blow mist into the air in different parties and functions, and people stand in front. Nice. Sometimes they put fragrance inside. Rose. They use in weddings also. They're actually designed for weddings. And somehow they went into saptahas and then they go into temples. But they're originally created for that. So this is nice. So the gopis are appreciating, oh, you're so fortunate. You're Krishna's friend. You can be with him and follow him wherever he goes in the pastures. And we're stuck back here, just pining our hearts out in the Purvarag, waiting to meet Krishna, feeling a separation of Purvarag, love before meeting. So we're crying out the verses of Venugita. So the chaya, the cloud, the shadow, we have to expand our knowledge only by sadhu sangha, associating with living sadhus, or associating with sadhus who are living in the words of their books. In the Puranas, so many sadhus are speaking. Parasara Muni and Yajnavalkya, and so many yogis and so many Vaishnavas and so many rishis and Prahlad and all the great Mahajans are speaking. They're great sadhus and rishis, and their words are recorded, fortunately, in the Veda and Shrutis and Puranas, and we can read all their teachings, or we can meet saintly people that are the embodiment of transcendental knowledge. They say that the ocean of truth is within the mind of the sadhu.